I knew something was off the moment I saw the smirk on her face. Not the fake, polite kind she wore at work events. This was sharper, like she'd just pulled off a trick no one else had noticed yet. It was our housewarming party. Our new place. The one we'd poured every weekend into renovating together. The one where I tore up the old linoleum with my bare hands, and she stood barefoot on the porch, holding 2 beers, calling me her forever. I thought I knew who was on the guest list. I'd helped write it. I bought the wine, grilled the food, hung the lights on the backyard fence. I wanted it perfect, for her, for us. So when he walked in, I froze. Tall, too confident, wearing a button-down that looked like it still had the scent of her on it. I didn't recognize him at first. I only knew he didn't belong. Then she said it, like a punch to the chest disguised as a casual remark. "Hey babe, this is Marcus." She didn't say my ex. She didn't say from college. She didn't say anything that explained why the hell this man was in our home, sipping the wine I bought, and standing on the floor I laid down. I just nodded, shook his hand. His grip was strong, rehearsed. Too familiar. "Nice place," he said, eyes scanning everything like a realtor. "You do all this yourself?" Before I could speak, she jumped in. "We did. Took us 4 months, but he worked miracles. Didn't you, babe?" It was the first time she'd called me that in hours. I smiled. Nodded again, but something inside me shifted. The rest of the night, I watched him. The way he leaned too close when she laughed. The way her eyes lit up. Not like they used to with me, but brighter, more alive, like an old light bulb suddenly working again after years in a drawer. He brought her a bottle of wine she used to love. How would he know that? Because he knew her. Not the version I'd slowly built a life with. The before me her. The one who still lived and shared glances and inside jokes I'd never understand. I kept the glass in my hand most of the night. Not to drink, just to keep it from shaking. Everyone else seemed oblivious. Her sister danced barefoot on the deck. Our neighbor Dave played DJ. People laughed, drank, complimented the house. No one noticed the way she touched her hair every time Marcus spoke, or how he looked around like he was measuring whether it could have been his life too. I noticed. After everyone left, I stood in the kitchen, cleaning up red Solo cups and lipstick-stained wine glasses. She came in humming, barefoot, cheeks flushed. "That went well," she said. I didn't look up. Why was he here? She blinked. "Who?" "Marcus." There was a pause. Just long enough. Then, "Oh, I ran into him last week. At the market. Figured it'd be nice to catch up." "To catch up?" I repeated, setting a plate down with more force than I meant. She folded her arms, defensive now. "Don't make this a thing. It's not a big deal. I'm your husband. You don't think I deserve to know you invited your ex into our home?" "It's been years," she said. "You're being dramatic." I stared at her. This woman I'd once trusted with everything. Who once cried when I surprised her with a ring under a rainstorm, her hands shaking as she said yes. Now she was calling me dramatic. I didn't sleep that night. I laid awake listening to her breathing, thinking about all the times I brushed off my instincts. All the moments I ignored the way she turned her phone screen away, or stayed, just a little longer, at drinks with friends I never met. Maybe Marcus was just the match. Maybe the fire had already started. By morning, I had a plan. Not for revenge, no. Just a quiet reveal. A reminder that every inch of the life we were living was built by these hands. Mine. I didn't confront her again. I didn't demand apologies or explanations. Instead, I got to work. That Friday, I invited Marcus over myself. He arrived right on time. Marcus. Same smug expression, same confident posture, like he'd already been here before and was just returning to reclaim something that still had his fingerprints on it. I greeted him with a smile. Not forced. Not fake. Just steady. I wanted him comfortable. I wanted him to see everything. "Glad you could make it," I said, clapping a hand on his shoulder. "Figured you didn't get the full tour last time." He looked surprised, a little amused. "Didn't expect the invite, man." "Yeah, well," I said, "figure it's always good to meet the past face to face." He laughed, not quite sure if it was a joke. I let him inside. The place looked immaculate. I'd made sure of it. Every room was spotless. The paint, every inch of it. I'd rolled on myself after 12-hour work shifts. The custom shelving in the den, the reclaimed wood dining table, even the crown molding. I taught myself how to do it all. YouTube, trial and error, and weekends I could have spent anywhere else. We walked through each room like I was a museum guide, and he was the visitor I wanted to impress. This wall, I said, tapping the blue-gray accent by the fireplace. She wanted something modern, but calming. Took me 3 tries to get the right shade. He nodded politely. Floors are Brazilian walnut. We debated it for weeks. Pricey, but I figured she deserved to walk on something beautiful every morning. I caught the shift in his eyes then, the subtle narrowing, like he was starting to get it. In the bedroom, I paused just long enough. Let him see the photo on the dresser. Me holding her on our honeymoon, her laughing into my chest like the world didn't exist outside that frame. Lot of work, he said finally, hands in his pockets. Yeah, I replied, but worth every hour. We moved to the kitchen next. I opened a bottle of wine, one he brought to the party. I'd done my research. It was the same vintage he gave her for her 27th birthday, back when they were still playing house in a downtown apartment. Hope it brings back good memories, I said, pouring it. He chuckled, uncomfortable now. Listen, man, I don't mean to overstep. I didn't know it was going to be weird. It's not weird, I said. It's clear. He raised an eyebrow. I let the silence sit. Then I picked up the checkbook I'd left on the counter, very deliberate, and flipped it open. You know what this is? I said, showing him the stub. He glanced, confused. Down payment on this house. My name. My money. Her ring? I pulled open the drawer beside him, revealing the original receipt. 6 months of saving. 3 months of planning. 1 diamond, hand-picked. She doesn't even know the backstory behind it. But you should. I stepped closer. Calm. Steady. Not angry. Just done pretending. You walked in here thinking maybe the past still had a shot, I said. You brought the bottle. She laughed at your jokes. You felt that old spark. I get it. He didn't speak. But I wanted you to see something. Everything she touches now, the walls, the plates, the very roof above her head, has my fingerprints on it. Not because I'm trying to own her, but because I chose her. Every time, even when she didn't choose me. I picked up the ring receipt again, this time holding it like something sacred. She cried when I proposed, said she'd never felt safer. I paused. Maybe that's why she invited you. Maybe safety is boring. Maybe she missed chaos. Marcus finally spoke. Look, I didn't mean to stir anything up. She told me you were solid. That's her word. Solid. Solid. Like a wall you lean on when you're tired. Like something built to hold other people's weight, but never really seen. I smiled. Thanks for coming, Marcus. Doors that way. He left without another word. That night, I didn't say a thing to her. She asked how my day was. I said fine. She kissed me goodnight like nothing had shifted. Like she didn't feel the distance growing in the silence. But I had already started packing. Not clothes. Not boxes. Just thoughts. Memories. Reasons. The kind you sort through quietly before you leave the life you thought you wanted. I wasn't done yet. But she was about to see just how much one man can carry, until he chooses to put it all down. The day I left, she didn't see it coming. She was in the garden, kneeling next to the rose bushes she swore she'd learn how to take care of. Her hair was tied up the way I liked. She was humming. Peaceful. Almost like we were okay. Inside, the house was spotless. Too spotless. I'd walked through it one last time that morning, room by room, and left no trace. My clothes were gone. My books, my tools, my half of the drawers. Even the framed photo of us in Iceland, where we froze our fingers and laughed like idiots. I'd taken that too. Not to keep. Just so she'd notice the empty space. On the kitchen counter, I left her a note. Not long. Not angry. Just honest. You invited him. Not just into our house, but into a space you and I were supposed to be building. I don't care that he was your ex. I care that I didn't know. That I had to watch you light up in ways you haven't with me in months. That you didn't tell me because part of you still wanted him to look at you and remember. Well, let me give you something to remember too. This house. I paid for it. Every nail, every plank, every light fixture, every piece of furniture. I never kept score because love doesn't do that. But love also doesn't hide things. Love doesn't lie. And love doesn't invite old flames into new homes. You wanted him to see you in this life. So I made sure he saw who gave it to you. Everything in this house was my gift. Even the ring on your finger. And now, I'm taking back the only thing you never valued. Me. I signed it with my name. Just my first name. The man I used to be. The one who bent over backward to prove he was enough. Who silenced his instincts and buried his gut feelings. That man deserved a goodbye, even if she never gave him one. I left the ring on the table. Not the one on her finger. The first one. The cheap one I gave her back when I was broke and hopeful, when we used to talk about love like it was something sacred. She kept it hidden in a drawer, said she couldn't wear it after we upgraded. But I'd found it, still tucked inside the same box, like a forgotten relic. That was the real ring, the one that held meaning. The upgraded one, that was just jewelry. I walked out the front door without a sound, got into my car, drove past the new sidewalk I poured with my bare hands, past the mailbox I installed in the freezing rain, past the front gate that squeaked every time she came home late. The home we built, it was beautiful, but it wasn't mine anymore. 3 days later, I filed for separation. She called. Once. I didn't answer. She texted, asked if we could talk, said she didn't understand what I was doing. But that was the point. She never understood. She never really saw me. Not when I paid off her student loans. Not when I worked overtime to cover her father's medical bills. Not even when I held her during the nights she said she felt too broken to be loved. I was the foundation she stood on. But foundations don't get flowers or thank yous. They just hold everything up until they crack. 2 months after I left, a mutual friend sent me a photo. Marcus and her. At some cafe. Smiling. I didn't feel pain. Not anymore. I just wondered if he noticed the wallpaper. If he knew who picked it out, who installed it after 3 hours of YouTube videos and torn up thumbs. If he understood what it costs to love someone so fully, so patiently, only to become invisible in the life you gave them. I don't hate her. I loved her. God, I loved her more than I thought I was capable of loving anyone. But love doesn't mean staying quiet while someone forgets what you gave. Love isn't sacrificing yourself just to be tolerated. She wanted to show her ex what kind of life she had now. So I made sure he saw the truth. Not out of spite, but so maybe, just maybe, she'd finally see it too.